My twin sister hid a lifetime of darkness behind an angel's face. After her death, my mother twisted the past so deeply that even my fiancé believed I was the monster. I was 24 years old when it happened. The day was supposed to be one of the happiest of my life. It was my birthday, and we'd planned a simple, warm gathering with close friends and family. Nothing flashy. Just good food, soft music, people I cared about. My fiancé, my boyfriend of 5 years, had quietly told me in the weeks before that he wanted to make this birthday special, but I didn't press him on details. I trusted him. We'd been together since I was 19, and by now, he knew how to read me better than anyone else. He never met my sister. That part is important, because most people who know me today don't know about her. My identical twin, who died when we were 15. Cancer. It was fast. 6 months from diagnosis to funeral. 6 months of chaos, pain, and confusion that left a mark on my entire family in ways none of us ever truly acknowledged out loud. We were identical in the truest sense. Mirror images. There wasn't a freckle or scar or dimple to set us apart physically. But in personality, we couldn't have been more different. I was quiet. Shy. The type of child who read books in corners and cried at sad commercials. She was loud, bold, outgoing, sharp. But more than that, more than just the confident twin, she had something dark in her. I knew it. My parents knew it. Honestly, anyone who spent enough time around us knew it. It feels cruel to speak ill of the dead, but truth is truth. She hurt animals. That wasn't a rumor. It was something I saw with my own eyes more than once. She'd torture neighborhood cats or birds and smile about it afterward. She stole from vulnerable people. Once, she took an entire wallet from an old man on the bus and bought candy and makeup with it like it was nothing. She was caught shoplifting more than once. She lied compulsively and manipulated people. She'd convince classmates to give her their lunch money and laugh when they cried. Even as a child, there was something about her that put people on edge, even if they couldn't say why. I loved her because she was my sister, my twin. But I was afraid of her too. Sometimes I still dream about that. After her death, our family made a quiet, unspoken decision to rewrite history. We didn't talk about the dark things. We didn't talk about her cruelty or her problems. We created a version of her that was an angel. A bright, brilliant soul stolen too young by an unfair disease. In our house, if her name came up, it was with soft smiles and faraway looks, as though remembering a fairy tale. I went along with it. It kept the peace. My parents had already lost one daughter. They didn't need to lose me too by me contradicting their carefully built version of reality. So I buried it. For years. That brings me back to my birthday party. My fiancé had proposed right there in front of our friends and family. I said yes, and people cheered and hugged us. It was warm and overwhelming in the best way. I felt like maybe, finally, I could step into a new chapter of my life. One that was only mine. Then my mother started talking. It wasn't unusual at first. She got misty-eyed and said how much my sister would have loved to be there. How happy she would have been to see me get engaged. I smiled tightly and nodded. This was familiar territory. I knew how to navigate this. But then she kept going. And something changed. She started telling stories from when we were kids. Specific stories. Ones I remembered vividly because they haunted me even now. Except she didn't tell them the way they happened. She told them backwards. She said that I was the one who had tortured the neighbor's cat. That I was the one who stole candy from little kids and laughed about it. That I was the one who shoplifted from stores and bullied classmates. She told them so smoothly, so casually, as though they were simple, funny anecdotes about her quirky, mischievous daughter, me. I stood there frozen. My skin went cold first, then hot, then numb. My throat dried up instantly, and I felt my heartbeat in my ears. My fiancé, he stood there, his hands still on my back, but stiff and confused. His brow furrowed deeper with every sentence. He kept glancing at me, searching my face for some reaction, some clue as to what was going on. I couldn't speak. My tongue felt glued to the roof of my mouth. My stomach turned, and I could feel the weight of every person in the room shifting awkwardly as my mother kept talking, still smiling, still lost in her carefully warped nostalgia. I couldn't tell if she believed the things she was saying, or if she was just rewriting the story so deeply that even she couldn't tell anymore what was true and what wasn't. And I just stood there. I didn't defend myself. I didn't shout or argue. I froze the way I had as a kid, when I'd watch my sister lie and twist things and I didn't know how to make the adult see the truth. My mind raced, trying to figure out what I could even say that wouldn't cause a scene or break the fragile world we'd all kept intact for so long. I don't know how long she talked. It felt like forever, though it probably wasn't more than a couple of minutes. Eventually someone, my aunt, maybe, changed the subject and the moment broke. People drifted back to their drinks and snacks, but I could still feel the way my fiancé's eyes were on me, quietly asking all the questions he couldn't say out loud. Even now, I don't know what bothered me more, the lies themselves, or the ease with which my mother had flipped the story on me like it was nothing. As though my entire childhood had been swapped with my sister's life, like we were just interchangeable pieces on a board. We didn't cause a scene. Honestly, I don't think either of us could have found the words, even if we'd wanted to. My fiancé and I just exchanged a quick look, the kind of look that says what the actual hell just happened, and we both silently agreed to get through the rest of the party. Smile, nod, thank the guests. Pretend everything was fine. Inside, I was numb. When we finally got home that night, I thought maybe we'd decompress. Maybe he'd crack a joke about how weird my mom was being, and we'd move on. But that wasn't what happened. He sat me down on the couch and, in the calmest voice I've ever heard from him, said he needed a break. His exact words were, "I don't think I can be with someone who did those things." It didn't sink in right away. I blinked at him, confused, my brain still foggy from hours of small talk and fake smiles. Then, like ice water, it hit me. He believed her. He thought I was the one who had done all those things. All those horrible things. I tried to explain. My voice broke on every other word. I told him about my sister, about how my family had rewritten history, about how my mom had twisted things to protect a version of my sister that didn't exist. But he sat there, shaking his head slowly, like he'd already made up his mind. He told me he thought I was just trying to do damage control, that it sounded too convenient, blaming the dead sister who couldn't defend herself. His jaw clenched, and before I could say anything else, he stood up, went to the bedroom, and started packing a bag. I followed him, crying so hard I couldn't breathe, begging him to listen, to just wait long enough to hear me out properly. He zipped up his duffel bag, slung it over his shoulder, and walked out the door without another word. For days after that, he ignored every single call and text I sent. I left voicemails. I sent long messages explaining everything in painful detail, but nothing. No response. No read receipts. Nothing but silence. Eventually, out of sheer desperation, I called my mom. My hands were shaking so badly, I almost dropped the phone twice. I told her everything, that he'd left, that he thought I was the one who had done all those things, that I needed her to tell him the truth, that it had been my sister, not me. She was quiet for a moment. Then she gave a small sigh and said, flat and final, leave it be. If he wouldn't accept you with your sister's faults, he wasn't worth it. I swear I stopped breathing for a second. My stomach turned so violently I thought I might throw up. Her words echoed in my head. Your sister's faults. As if this was just a minor character flaw. As if the things my sister did were just quirks. As if it didn't matter that my entire life was burning down because of this lie. I hung up on her. I didn't say goodbye. I just hit end call and dropped my phone onto the couch like it had burned my skin. I haven't spoken to her since. That was the moment something inside me snapped. The years of staying quiet. The years of keeping peace for the sake of a family that clearly didn't care about truth or fairness or even me. I was done. I said screw it. I grabbed my old laptop and logged into my sister's Instagram account. We'd known each other's passwords growing up. It was how we kept secrets from our parents back then. She had posted everything on that account. Photos, videos, status updates from when she ran away, screenshots of conversations bragging about the messed up stuff she did. The receipts were all there, clear as day. I didn't stop there. I got in touch with people from our past. Old friends, distant family members, teachers, even one of the nurses who had cared for her during her cancer treatments. One by one, I reached out and explained the situation, asking them to confirm what they remembered. Every single person who responded backed me up. They all confirmed that I had been the quiet, normal twin, and that my sister had been the one with serious issues. Not one person hesitated. Armed with all of that, I drove to my fiancé's brother's house, where I knew he'd been staying since he left. My hands were shaking the whole drive, but I didn't care anymore. I knocked on the door, and when my fiancé answered, I didn't even wait for him to speak. I just held out my phone and showed him everything. The Instagram posts, the screenshots, the texts from people who remembered the truth. He didn't say much at first. He just sat down heavily on the couch and scrolled through everything in stunned silence. I stood there, waiting, feeling like my chest was going to explode. After what felt like hours but was probably less than 10 minutes, he looked up at me. His face was pale, eyes wide and ashamed. He apologized, profusely. He said he didn't know what to think before, but now he saw everything clearly. He said he was sorry for not trusting me, sorry for walking out, sorry for letting my mom's lies get in his head. We're fine now. We worked through it. We're still engaged, still planning our future together. If anything, we're stronger because of it. He knows the truth, and more importantly, he knows how deep the dysfunction in my family runs. There's no more pretending or hiding. Not between us. But of course, my mom wasn't done. Word got back to her that I dug all this up and shown people. She's been throwing a fit ever since, telling anyone who will listen that I dragged the family name through the mud. That I'm selfish. That I don't deserve to be in love or happy because my sister went through so much. At this point, it's obvious where my sister got her issues from. The apple didn't fall far from the tree. I haven't responded to my mom. I don't plan to. For the first time in my life, I'm choosing truth over family fairy tales. And I'm not sorry. Since everything settled down, a few relatives and friends have chimed in with their opinions. Some of them have said they think I went too far. That I should have just told my fiancé the truth directly, in private, instead of involving his whole family and dragging all those people from my past into it.
I get why they're saying that.
I really do. On the surface, it probably looked messy and dramatic. But the truth is, I didn't feel like I had a choice.
I didn't want anyone doubting me.
Not him, not his brother, not his parents, not his friends. Especially not when my mom had made her version of events sound so believable. If you'd been standing there that night at the party, listening to her soft voice, her sad expression, her carefully polished memories, you'd have believed her too. She's good at it. Scarily good. I knew that if I didn't have undeniable proof, ironclad and backed up by other people, the doubt would always linger. Maybe not consciously, but it would be there. Whispering at the back of his mind. Every time my name came up in an old story, every time someone mentioned my sister, every time a small disagreement popped up. What if it's true? What if she's hiding something? I couldn't live with that. So yes, I went nuclear. And honestly, I don't regret it. As for my mom, I've decided to go low contact for now. I'm not cutting her off completely, at least not yet. But I'm not going to engage beyond the absolute minimum until she shows actual change. Until she acknowledges what she did and stops rewriting history to suit her guilt-riddled fantasies. I'm not holding my breath, but I'm also not entertaining her manipulations anymore. My wedding won't be for a while, so thankfully I don't have to start worrying about guest lists or uninviting people just yet. That's a battle for another day. For now, I'm keeping my distance, focusing on myself and my fiancé, and keeping my boundaries strong. For those of you who suggested getting my dad involved to help encourage her into therapy, he's not in the picture. Hasn't been for a long time. But one of my aunts, someone I trust, has agreed to step in and try to help. She's level-headed, and she sees things clearly, so if anyone can gently nudge my mom in the right direction, it's probably her. Also, this part made me laugh, so I'll share it. Someone commented that I should make it very clear I'm not naming my firstborn child after my sister. That cracked me up because I've been shutting that idea down since I was about 18. Every time my mom hinted at it, even in passing, I shot it down so hard it left a crater. So no worries there. That's one line I drew a long time ago, and have no plans to cross. Anyway, that's all I really have to say for now. I won't be updating or commenting on this anymore unless something truly crazy happens, which, let's be honest, with my family, isn't entirely off the table. But for now, I'm choosing peace. I've got a life to live, a wedding to plan, and a future that doesn't involve carrying the weight of lies that don't belong to me. And I'm okay with that.